So Scotland and people back home have been incredibly generous to our missionary activities there in Nueva Prosperina and beyond in Ecuador. And, you know, through people's generosity, loads has been achieved. I remember when I went out to Ecuador, I went down to the bank here in Scotland, and you know, I had been encouraged to set up a separate bank account for any fundraising, and thinking, well, you know, we'll maybe get £100 or whatever, you know, here and there. But money very quickly started to come in great quantities, and within a couple of years, we managed to undertake some serious infrastructure projects. Partly helped that during almost the entirety of my 5 years, the exchange rate between the pound and the US dollar, and the currency in Ecuador is the US dollar, almost during the whole time it was £1 became $2. So we were able to do double what you might have expected with the you know, the donations of the pound. But the first thing that we were able to do was to build the parish centre, parish house, sorry, and that's still standing to this day. We were able to build classrooms. We were able to build a football pitch through donations from Scotland and donations through football clubs. But I suppose the biggest project that we were able to undertake with Scottish help was the building of the parish church. And various two architects had drawn up plans, and Pedro Mogrovejo, the architect that we went with, had designed a two-storey building. So the church is probably on a gradient of a hill, that gradient. So what Pedro was able to do from the street, you're able to come in to a parish church that seats about 500 people. But then down below, a series of meeting rooms. So built into, and it was all built into the with retaining walls built into the structure of the hill. I mean, retaining walls that are you know thick with iron, very, very sturdy, able to withstand, even during my time, the strongest earthquake was a 7.2 on the Richter scale. So they were able to, the church has been able to withstand that. But as impressive as these buildings are, you know, it's what people can do with the buildings, and what 20 years later after it was built, how the church has just become a normal part of life in the shantytown. That a church that seats 500 people. I mean, it's massive, the church. The meeting rooms that are both catechesis meeting rooms, but as would normally happen in a parish, all sorts of different social groups and community groups meet and use the parish halls, as well as the schools, the classrooms in the school. I mean, we started out in 2004 with 7 bamboo huts. They've now got 28 brick-built classrooms that have withstood all sorts of problems over the years, and structural problems. And all of that is because people like you have donated, we have had, great one or two big benefactors, but the main way that all of those things, projects were built, infrastructure was built, was because people in families, people in the pews in the churches, thought maybe we can help the people in Ecuador, and they gave £10, £5, and all of them came together to create this great gift that Scotland was able to give to Ecuador. And it was highlighted in opening of the church in 2007. The building project was started when my sister and brother were out in 2006, and it was amazing that it was concluded within about 14 or 15 months of building this massive two-storey 500-seater church. Was completed within about 15 months. But in the opening of the church, Bishop Murray and Father Donald, Bishop Murray from Argyll and Ells and Father Donald Mackay, both of whom have sadly passed away in recent years, they came out to represent Scotland for the opening of the church. And one of the things that came up in the offertory procession, I was unaware of this before it actually happened, they had got a Scotland flag and an Ecuador flag, the full size. They had sewn them together, and it was under the banner of Escocia, Ecuador, Amigos por Siempre, Scotland and Ecuador, Friends for Life, symbolising that bond that the people in Ecuador realise they're probably never going to meet you, but they realise that you are their friends because of the great thing you've been able to do with your £5, your £10, have been able to help them in all sorts of ways that have helped it, years later are still helping the infrastructure of the shantytown. That people still live in desperate poverty. In many ways, because of COVID, the poverty situation has got worse. Some people have advanced, some people have changed. But I would say, having visited last year, I would say the majority of people still live in abject poverty. So the gift that you have been able to give through your generosity is a gift that they appreciate, that you have been able to transform their lives. Amigos por siempre, Escocia y Ecuador, Friends for Life.